Welcome back to the Wounded Viking Podcast, already episode 5. Today, not my usual co-host, the beautiful Katja, but a very special person nonetheless. One of my dearest and best friends, a person that I've known since age 2 at least.
2, 3, something like that.
From kindergarten.
Yep.
He's also Belgian, obviously. Grew up together in the same place. Niels, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you are the first.
Yeah, I made it.
The first guest on the show. So you have to be interesting.
I'll try, I hope it's not a gauge for, how well your show is going now. You're just inviting some weirdos, but okay.
Let's talk about first maybe how we met, just like a little bit, or who you are. And like, what do you do? Let's just start there.
What do I do? Well, I'm a human being on planet Earth, for one. And, well, I'm fascinated with IT, and I work in a marketing, digital marketing agency, in Ghent.
Mm-hmm.
I live in the vicinity of Ghent, and I don't know, I like sports, cardio sports, of course, like running, biking, and good food. I really like good food.
You're the guy, anytime I have a serious IT issue, you're the first one.
The go-to guy for the printer. That's right.
I think you're being a little bit too modest here, because I consider you to be a computer and programming genius. You're very
that's
good
very,
at these things.
That's very nice to hear. It's just when you do something with passion, it pays off. And I'm really passionate about software, even hardware. It's.
Do you like the little studio setup?
Yeah, I really like it. It's concise. But very to the point, and
right.
It's a nice room too, and you got the mirror.
I had someone tell me like you should do a better job with hiding the cables, but I do this on purpose. I think it's cool. Like that's also why the centerpiece is like the mixer. I like it. I like that you can see the technical aspect of it. I don't like it when it doesn't have to be too neat and too clean.
I was watching your podcast and I immediately noticed the mixer is set up towards the camera,
right?
But it adds.
It does, right? I think it's cool. Yeah, then I just went with it. I felt like it's cool, and I don't know, it's interesting to see. I really feel like me doing this podcast is gonna make a huge change in my YouTube channel. Like I want to go on record and say that now that it's episode 5, right? Yeah. Obviously it's just 5 episodes, it's nothing.
No, so actually you do it as a natural too. I mean, you have not a single problem just keeping the topics going and just talking your way out. And the thing is, Katja is an excellent co-host too.
She is.
I mean, it's obvious that you're leading the subjects a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but Katja fills you in just perfect.
She does, and something that's very interesting. I sent one of my podcasts to a very close friend of mine, and one of the remarks, one of the feedback that stood out was, I've never seen you show so much respect to your counterpart when you're debating. I gotta go easy on her because she'll kill me if I don't.
That's true, and we've known each other for a long time.
Yes,
and I think the setting also justifies the behavior towards one another.
Of course,
so it's a bit of a different setting than when we're in a bar. Drunk, talking about, politics, not that we ever do, but...
Exactly. We try to... Well, we do talk about politics. I think I can honestly say that it's going to sound fake, but you were literally my best friend from, let's say, age, I want to say 6, 7...
Yeah.
Till 13-ish, I want to say.
Same, brother.
Right?
Yeah.
No, because it was a thing. We would sleep over. How many nights did we sleep in the same bed as kids? How many times did we your parents?
There's no way to count that, man. It was multiple times a week.
I'm never gonna have another person on this podcast because I know people at home right now is like, yeah, of course he's your best friend, right? But no, like this is like you were like my whole childhood best friend, and I had other dear friends, but you only had like that one, kid friend when you were 7, 8 years old. That was you, and then we didn't talk. Oh, I mean, we just basically kind of fell out between, I want to say 12 and maybe like, I don't know, 20?
Yeah, the middle school, high school
Right.
years. But, everyone goes their own path. And you can never tell when your, paths diverge or, when they come together again. And it's just very nice to realize when you get older that, a lot of people come and a lot of people go, but like there are a couple of people who stay, close to your path in life. And, the fact that like you're like literally my oldest friend. I mean, I remember
Right.
like in kindergarten we were playing together. So, like you got to appreciate that.
But it's also funny, man. Something I learned is that, the reason I guess that we had this 8-year stint where we barely spoke is it has a lot to do with puberty, finding your own as a man, also wanting to break with all of the things when you were a kid. Yeah. It's the same time for me, example, when I really got into hip hop. Like I remember when I discovered hip hop, I decided this is going to be my identity now. I'm going to be, I used to wear these ridiculous wear clothes, like way oversized, 5XL.
Oh, I still like them though. I'm not going,
No, I like Wu-Tang. I'm just saying the clothing is. I like it if it fits true to size. But I was looking ridiculous. I can honestly say that.
Okay.
But
we all did. All, at that age.
But my point is like, I definitely you have this period where you're like now I gotta discover myself, and you focus on basically everything has to be new and different, right? And even after obviously we became cool again when we were 18, 19, but even then I was still very much on the mission of getting as far away from Belgium as I could. And I was always like, there's a whole world. I already spent 18 years in this little tiny village. Why would I want to, waste more time here? And something that I found that is so interesting, I spent so much time meeting all these new people, and you're just infatuated and so drawn by everything that is the furthest from you, the furthest from your upbringing, the furthest from your beliefs, because you glorify their way of living, you glorify the other people's lifestyle. You're just like, wow, yeah, that's it. Like in my case, I come from a relatively conservative, normal, middle class background. So I was, infatuated and obsessed with the whole, I would say, hippie lifestyle, hippie way of thinking, just world traveler type crowd. Yeah. And that went on for quite a while until I really got to a point where I had to admit in my late 20s, like, it's not really me. Like a part of it was, but I remember vividly having spent 3 months in Colombia and backpacking, and I was always surrounded by people, but that was the loneliest time of my life because I always felt like it was always so superficial. Even the deep conversations where, they didn't really, I don't know, I never could really relate. And I remember coming home from that and getting so much joy from talking to people from my tribe, people that grew up where I grew up and had kind of like the same way of thinking, and like, oh my God, this is, I agree, like small things.
But the thing is, like, the things you agree with and like the things you appreciate from your past and like the place you grew up, like they also change after you've seen the world, so to speak.
Right.
Like that's how I felt about it. Like I also, traveled a lot. I lived abroad for a while. And like how I think about it is mostly like you go some different places and you see a lot of new people and cultures, and you pick out and match the good things and you like them. But like seeing all these different things, like you also learn to appreciate the good things you had at home, and like you know, the value of it becomes more apparent.
Right.
If that
It
makes
does.
sense.
It
Like
does. And a lot of it has to do with novelty also. Like the first couple of years, you're just like, you're so focused on breaking with those morals and values that you were brought up with that you're not even critically looking at the new type of lifestyle that you're indulging in. You're just taking it, you're just like, yeah, I'm with it. Like, I'm not even gonna critically look at, like, you know, think about it. And once you, like for me, really, like, I'm talking really about, again, like the whole backpacking crowd, backpacking mentality. Like in the end, I was really like, I was done with it, man. Yeah. I used to really respect, I really used to have this notion in my head that, per definition, if you were traveling the world with a backpack, you were like a good and interesting person, you know? And there's a lot of hurts in that community, man. There's a lot of trauma, a lot of running away, a lot of confused people, a lot of abusers, a lot of, like, you know what I mean?
But I think like a lot of those people are actually like also other travelers looking for themselves. Yeah. Like, you know, and the thing is, it's a transition phase. Like, I mean, you know, like, okay, some people keep traveling, and it's always good to keep traveling, you know, like you need to, you know, like, you know, expanding your horizons and whatnot, you know, but you know, at one point you come in you turn into yourself, like, right. You know, like it also has to do with becoming an adult, I think. Right. And you know, those people, they are all looking for themselves, and like they don't have a lot in common because there's like people of mixed cultures meeting everywhere and things. So, you know, the most social exchanges you're finding out there are very superficial in a way. But
it is, and I also feel like at one point their identity becomes the constant travel.
You know, labels are always dangerous, even when people label themselves. And you know, when I can, you know, I have this image of a stereotype that I think you're talking about.
I'll share, and again, you know, because I said this before, I do love to generalize. So people that get too sensitive about, you can't generalize, you should probably turn this off, because I like, you know, of course I do not believe all generalizations are correct, yes, but there's also just a lot of truth in them. And just for the sake of the argument, I like to use it to build upon. Doesn't mean all people are like that, right? So let's get that out of the way. My kind of like epiphany came, I'll never forget that I was in Colombia. I just touched down in Bogota, the capital. Yeah. And I remember I was just sitting in the hostel lobby, just on my phone, like most people. That's another thing, like now with the smartphones, just so many people are just on their phone, one by one, and it's kind of like, all right, you know, like until we start drinking, we're just going to be antisocial. And I remember these two Canadians checked in, and they were just straight up out of a backpack movie. Like they had the whole, they look great, man. Do you know Tame Impala? Like the lead singer of Tame Impala?
Well, I'm not very familiar.
Well, basically, just consider like a good-looking Jesus guy, okay, right? Yeah. With all the attire and all the, you know, just like they had the whole look. Yeah. And I remember we started talking, hanging out, chilling, and they were just, you know, telling these stories about, you know, after this, we're gonna go to Peru, we're gonna do ayahuasca in the jungle with the shaman, and like all these typical. But I was like, oh wow, you know, these guys are the real deal. And then at one point, I remember I met with this guy from the UK, and I think it was a German guy. And then somehow we mustered up the plan to hit up this club in Bogota, which turned out to be like a gay club. We didn't know. Nonetheless, it was an amazing time. It was I'm forgetting the name, but it's a really like known club. It has like 15 different rooms. That's all I remember.
For dancing, right?
Yeah, for dancing. And of course, we lost each other, as you do on a crazy night in Bogota, and I made it back to the hostel by myself, only to find my two Canadian backpacking Jesuses in the hostel lobby at literally at 5 a.m. So I'm like, hey, yo, what's up, guys? I'm thinking, you know, like they're hanging out. doing whatever, maybe smoking, letting to get in on that. I don't know. And I sit down, and immediately I could tell the vibe was super dark, super like
very gloomy. Like.
Yeah, but like, you know, when people are kind of like on their, you know, when you kind of see the something sinister in their eyes. So for those who can't read between the lines, they were doing coke, right?
Okay.
Because a lot of people go to Colombia also to do coke.
Yeah,
I know, stereotype. Guess what? It's true. And I just remember talking to them, and we got into this super silly debate about, it was about music or something. It wasn't even anything serious. And I just remember like the anger and the fierceness. You know, at one point this guy just kind of spazzed out.
Some pent up issues.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
Like
and he's just like
waiting underneath.
Right.
Like,
and he was just like, you don't fucking know. And he just basically spazzed out on me. I was like, yo, all right, man. I'm sorry. Like, you know what? I think I'm gonna call it a night. And then the next morning, I ran into them again at the breakfast, and he was like, "Hey, yo, dude, about last night, yeah, we were a little bit fucked up, sorry if we got a little bit too much." Like, but I remember thinking, like, here I was, I already had put these guys on a pedestal. They were on their spiritual journey to, being woke or whatever, finding themselves, and no, like at the end of the day, you're just like two guys with issues from somewhere in Canada, and you grew out your hair and you put on a bunch of patches on your shirts, but at the end you're just doing coke at 5 a.m. in a hostel, and like you're not really a happy person at all. Granted, that was a moment, like, but still I kind of felt like, and that's when I was really like, all right, well, because it's funny, because before that I was actually going to ask them if I could like join their little, if I could join in on their trip. And after that I was like, I'm not trying to get involved with that.
No, that would have been a bad idea. I don't know. But yeah, I guess they were also finding themselves, but some people just need different ways of finding themselves, like a therapist helps sometimes,
It does, saying. Man.
But, in the end, like, actually, I saw a really good movie recently starring a backpacker. It was a documentary, and I don't know, I forgot the name of the documentary. But it was about this French guy, and he was basically walking from the west of France to the east of France. And on his way, he always slept with people he met that day.
Right. Like, pretty standard procedure for backpackers.
Yeah.
That's another thing, not to cut you off, but like that's a huge factor why people travel.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real.
Yeah, but like his angle for the documentary was like, everywhere he basically spends the night, he asks people like, what do you think happiness is?
Oh, hold on, he wasn't having sex with them.
No.
Oh, my bad, man. I completely missed. No, I was saying, in my experience, a lot
like that. No.
I'm talking about people going to travel just to get laid. My bad. Keep going, man.
Well, sorry for the French guy if he's watching this podcast or listening to it. But no. It was
I got
not
you.
Like that.
He was staying the night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Sleeping with.
I
see where we went wrong with that.
Sleeping with in English means having sex. I was just saying that, like, man.
I messed up.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
But the to continue your path. Well, basically, when he went to stay over at people, I got it right this time. Well, he asked people like, "What do you think happiness is?" And he films them while they try to come up with an answer on the spot. And it's I don't know. I really liked that because people. Like, it's like everybody chases happiness, but no one actually really knows what it is. Like, people on the spot, like, everyone has a different definition for happiness, but, it's...
What would you say your definition is right now?
I thought about it. Since I saw that documentary, I thought about it. And I don't know, it's still difficult for me to put it to words, but one thing I know is that it's not something you can chase. You know, like, I mean, maybe you can work on it, but it's not something to achieve. And it's not something that you can plan for. Like, you know, happiness is like, oh, when I get that brand new car, or like when I get that, you know, multi-thousand euro job or whatever. That's not happiness. That's superficial sparks of joy. But like real happiness is just, I don't know, accepting the things you can't change, you know, and being content with the choices you've made in the past, and positively anticipating your choices you will make next. You know, that's for me like being at peace.
But if one of the thresholds is to be able to be content with the choices you've made in the past, what happens if you've made all these bad choices?
No, being content with them, I mean,
having peace with
it's
them.
like, yeah, being at peace.
Right. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
That's
I got you.
Just accepting like it's in the past.
Yeah.
And, you know, like whatever, you know, the future might still be bright, and the choices, even if they are bad ones, they could have led me to this beautiful future, you know, like just that state, that mental state of being. I think there's happiness in that personally, but in the end, you know, like we're all specks of dust, you know, but
stardust. I hear you, man. I do. And when I really, you know, I try to find happiness by really understanding in the moment, just super small, trivial things, like having a cup of coffee, like my first cup of coffee, and that first rush of caffeine, or, well, that's not a good example because that's linked to like taking something stimulating.
Yeah, but
just small, like for example, when I go to meet my parents and I'm having a small interaction with my dad about something in the backyard, understanding that this is going to be one day a precious memory, understanding and realizing that he's not always going to be here.
Absolutely.
And
really like appreciating the things in the moment. That's true. That's true. I would add that to my list of happiness.
All right. Now we got happiness out the way. I'm going to raise the subject, the topic, why I brought you here. I've been wanting to talk about aliens since the first episode.
Yeah, well, you know, aliens.
Dude, so basically, I was just telling people, so I've been going around telling everyone that wants to hear it, like, did you know that the U.S. government, like a couple of months ago, has officially come out and admitted that that they have footage of something, you know, that they don't know what it is.
Well, a UFO.
Right, a UFO. Like, it doesn't have to be extraterrestrial.
But it could be. Right.
But basically, like, within the community of, like, people who are into aliens, it's kind of like, I feel, the strangest thing for me is with this whole corona thing is I feel like people that are in the know about aliens, I'm not sure if you're aware about the whole Tic Tac UFO spotting. So basically, like, a bunch of really credible fighter jet pilots, like serious people, not loonies, have come out and testified about this like Tic Tac object. There's footage of it. I think that's also the one that the U.S. government released. And my point is, everyone that's like into aliens, it's kind of like established by now that we've had contact with aliens. Like, not contact, but they've been here, they've been spotted. But no one talks about it. It's just kind of like you only find it if you're really gonna, you know, like I said, look for it. But for example, my mom and my dad are just like overall, you know, friends, people my age. They're not really aware that this is happening, and it's just so odd to me. I almost feel like the government or the powers that be are like trying to subtly break the news, very subtly, like. Ease it in. Yeah,
like they know more, like that.
Yeah, and but just like, and they don't want to cause this major uproar. It's kind of like the way, because like I said, the U.S. government, they communicated by, they have a whole they put up a website for it. It's a super crappy website, and it just kind of feels like they're covering their ass. They're like, yeah, we communicated it, we said it.
Yeah.
But like in the most like low-key not possible. Media is not really talking about it. It wasn't Belgian media actually. It did, but
You could
again,
say that they released it under the radar, to put a little joke there.
It's crazy to me because I'm all in on aliens. Like I'm all fucking in.
I have a mind for aliens. I mean, I like the subject. I really do. Like, I gotta say, sci-fi is by far my favorite genre of movies. But I also remain skeptical. Like, I'm going to tell you like a little story.
Go ahead.
Like, at one point in my life, I was convinced that I saw a UFO, and like it was like a really serious thing to me. I had a friend with me, and she also saw the same thing. And basically, and this sounds really funny in hindsight, but like we were walking and we were like hearing a really loud noise, like a lawnmower. Like it sounded like a lawnmower. But like, where's that sound coming from? And we looked to the sky, and there was this black triangle in the sky.
Okay.
And it was flying in a way that it just felt off to me, and also my friend who was with me. And we were like, what the hell was that? And just, like while we were still considering it was kind of gone. And, this could have been because of the clouds or whatnot. But then, the internet was already around, and I started Googling and things. And apparently there are a lot of sightings of like black triangles in the sky, specifically in Belgium. And I thought, like, God damn, I saw something really, really special here. And like, I even sent it to like an information point, like a website where you can make submissions when you spot a UFO. I did that, never heard of them, like they didn't hit me back on it. But basically, I don't know, I walked around for like 10 years thinking like I saw a UFO. And then at one point I was at, I don't know, it was something to do, it was like an air show or something, I think in Kleine Breugel. And there was this novelty plane that, I don't know, some dude, I think he made it himself or something, but it was like a single wing plane. And it was that triangle.
And you're just
so actually it was just a plane that a dude made himself that just looked off, sounded off. And I was convinced it was a UFO for a very long time, but it was just a damn plane.
And did that alter your possibility to believe?
Yeah, that kind of made me more it made me a bit more
skeptical.
That's it. Because like now, like I like the blips, like the tic tac thing on the radar that the pilots observe. Like, these things have been around for a very long time. I think in like World War II, pilots, they already observed like what they called Foo Fighters back then. The Foo Fighters are like orbs of light, or like flying along with the plane, and these could very well be extraterrestrial, but they could also be a phenomenon that we can't identify yet. It doesn't mean that they're intelligent, is what I mean. Like it could be a natural phenomenon for all we know that's just not described by science yet. Because the thing is, I do strongly believe there is an infinitely more chance that there is extraterrestrial life than that there is not.
There has to be, because if you look at the cosmos, like
if it's endless, the possibilities are endless.
Right.
That's just very basic. But the thing is, if they are advanced enough to travel and observe us, they would be smart enough not to make contact with us. So,
but why do we always think in terms of like? So you just said it right. you're saying they would be smart enough to not make contact. So you're already implying that they care, right?
Yeah.
That they care about the fact whether or not
we
we would.
their morals. That's true.
But my question, to you is, and for example, chimpanzees. When's the last time that you've cared about chimpanzees or you thought about chimpanzees?
I care a lot about chimpanzees, but I don't,
but we always have this tendency to put ourselves at the same level of these aliens, like we're relevant.
Yeah.
But why would they, I think it's just it makes a lot more sense that they're just kind of sometimes they look at us and they're just like, yeah.
Now
we're monkeys.
Now we're coming to a place where, this is a big question because we have no information at all about extraterrestrials, but there is a philosophical question in this. Are ethics universal? Because if ethics are universal, if there is such a thing as good and bad, then that would actually mean that, suppose that there are ethics and that there is good and bad, the extraterrestrial life forms, they would realize what impact it would bring to make contact with an underdeveloped life form such as ourselves.
Well, I think the answer to that question is definitely no, because we don't even exercise the same type of ethics to all different living creatures on this planet. For example, the ethics which we hold towards cats and dogs are not ethics that we use when we are killing a mosquito or squashing a bug, because we don't, you know what I mean?
Mosquitoes are annoying as hell.
Right, but for example, or a fly or a ladybug, or a earthworm, like we don't care about, because it's about scale. Mm-hmm. Like cat, cute, pet, haha. You can't kill cat, bad, cool, ethic. Yeah. But you can kill a bug, you can kill a fly. You could even if there's a pigeon sitting in the middle of the road and you kill it, people don't really care. No one cares. No one's gonna stop you and be like, "Hey, that's animal cruelty." Like, no, it's a pigeon. Like, so you know what I mean? So I feel like ethics.
If I'd see you kill a pigeon, I'd definitely stop you. but
right.
But I know what you mean. But it's about scale, and the thing is, we So this is far-fetched maybe, but we're already venturing into space. Mm-hmm. And maybe this brings us to the scale of the aliens who are space travelers to believe that, we're not to be meddled with. And, not to be meddled, I mean, not that we'd pose any threat to them or anything, but just like that they think of us as a species they should be protective of.
I just think I don't see them really having any type of respect or even thinking in that capacity. Like, again, I think that we project so many of our human values on these things that we don't know, We always have this tendency to want to paint them as green people with eyes or gray little guys. Like, why would they have eyes in the first place? Like why would they look anything like us? Mm-hmm. Why can't they look closer to birds or something or I don't know.
Do. But the thing is, we've, as humans, we've evolved under certain conditions, and it's the only thing we know. So it's fair to assume that they are also life forms that have evolved under conditions, or mm-hmm. Have come forth from conditions, and just that act alone of being formed by the conditions that surround you, mm-hmm. Opens the door to give a species some universal values. So that's why I kind of do believe that. Like maybe not our concept of it, but like the concept of ethics, should be incorporated in like, any kind of alien societal structures. I mean, I don't know. I believe that actually, because otherwise, if there is no good or bad, they wouldn't, have evolved far enough to get anywhere, because, they just killed each other. I mean,
but is there good and bad amongst bears and wolves and tigers and lions? Do they operate in terms of good and bad?
They operate according to their instinct,
right?
But I think they, bears care for their family. I mean, they are very protective of their cubs. Like it could be, like, yeah, I don't know.
It's easy. I'm playing the easy role. I'm asking you for it.
I don't have the answers. But it's just, it's like, because we have no information on extraterrestrial life, it's like you said, we project everything personal on the notion of what it could be.
Right.
But, if there was alien life, I would like to know about it.
Oh man, I would like, and I've got high hopes, man. Like, I still see myself having another 60 years on this planet.
Yeah.
I'm anticipating a very solid long-term run. Also because medical services, that's not the word I want to use, but are only going to get better. Mm-hmm. So, I already had cancer twice. I feel like I'm on a good. Yeah.
You passed some bridges already.
I did. But that's one of the things that excites me the most. Mm-hmm. Like, to see what the next, like, I wholeheartedly believe, and I tell people all the time, like, we are living in the best time ever. Like, it's so exciting to be alive when there's guys like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, real life superheroes, pouring in billions of dollars into space exploration. Like, and we're just at, like, it's just starting. We're just at the beginning.
Definitely.
And I just can't wait to see, man, what's about to happen. Like, look at Corona, man. Like, we never could have seen this coming.
That's the thing. You were talking about, like, friends and family who would, like, never take the notion of extraterrestrial life serious.
Right.
But if you would have told them 1 year ago, like, oh, humanity, might suffer some serious damage with some kind of post-apocalyptic virus, they would have given you the same response, actually. Like,
I feel like people just love being asleep and being unaware. There's a certain peace, there's a certain calmness that comes with just, like, covering your ears and eyes and just being like, nah.
The less you know, the less to worry about. Man.
It's such a real thing, and I see people do it deliberately, unconsciously, for sure. But still, like, they just don't want to know. They just don't want to, and they don't even want to explore what's behind that door. And I'm the opposite, man. I
bring it on.
I do want to know. I do.
Yeah, no, I think I'm exactly the same in that way. I mean, I don't know. Like, we can also trace that back when we were childhood friends. Like, you had your thing with dinosaurs, and I really loved the crap out of dinosaurs myself. But, like, I don't know, we always had this, like, very creative, very dreamy, like, we made up very funny games and things.
Right.
Like, it's I don't know. Some people have that, and some people just want to sleepwalk through life and hope that they don't get hit by a bus. You know what I mean? Like,
it's crazy. And it's just and obviously I know so many people, especially having moved back to this more small town area. That's one of the things. I shit on city life all the time, but one of the biggest advantages about city life is it's a hotspot for free thinkers. It's a hotspot for people who think outside the box. It's a hotspot for intellectual wanderers who want to meet like-minded people who are also kind of like, whereas in a small town like this, the mentality is more kind of like, I don't know. I don't care. Like, why would I even wonder about that? Just like basic necessities: provide for the family, build a house, buy a car, buy another car, save money for the kids, acquire as many building plots as possible. Like, that's a real thing out here. People are just trying to purchase as many building plots as they possibly can. I feel like
they don't get any love from the banks anymore.
Yeah, that's also true.
Dude,
what about the housing market, man? Because I've been talking, with a bunch of people about this. Do you see the prices of property in Belgium going down anytime soon? Because I keep hearing people saying, at one point it can't go on like this. Like, at one point it's going to crash, and I've been saying that for the last 5 years.
I guess devaluation of the euro might be linked to the housing market. I mean, okay, we used to pay with francs in Belgium, and when we switched to euros, we were in the same school. We were in the Center Village school, and I remember that the euro was introduced in January, right? And on my way to school, I would pass by an vending automat, for getting a little can of Coke for bringing it to school, and I would pass there and I would put 20 francs in the automat, and a drink comes out, and New Year passed, the euro was introduced, and those 20 francs, which is an equivalent of 50 euro cents, suddenly the same drink cost €1.
Dude, I remember that. They jacked up the prices so much with the euro.
And you can believe that the wages didn't get jacked up.
It's crazy.
So I think actually people are not really, paying attention to it, but the euro is actually devaluating. You can do a lot less with the same amount of euros that you could have done 15 years ago. And the housing market, I don't know if it's because of the housing market or if the housing market is a symptom of this. I'm not too sure about that, but it could go on for a very long time. There's no sense in saying it can go on like this. I don't believe that. I think it could go on. Also depends on how the COVID situation turns out. That could impact it too.
I mean, the way I look at it is Belgium is tiny, right? We have a ton of people. Belgians are traditionally very hardworking people, constantly making money, saving money, or very good at saving money and obtaining wealth. And there's only X amount of space available, right? But the population keeps growing. So that's just, for me, simple math, right? Why would the price ever go down when you have at least 10 people, being interested in wanting to buy every single house, every single plot? Why would that happen? And all those, our parents, boy, did they get the short end of the stick. All they did was basically work their ass off. All the people that are in their 60s right now, they just straight up busted their ass. All they did was work, eat, sleep, and make kids. And work more on the weekends before and after, right? And I just feel now you have this entire generation of people that are in retirement sitting on a bunch of cash. And it's just they're giving it to their kids. And the kids are hey, but, I want to enjoy life. I need my meditation. I need my yoga retreat. I need my 3 vacations. We're a lot more focused on, I'm not going to...
On living life.
Yeah, I'm not going to... Yeah, I'm not going to work like a slave. There's more than just work. And I feel so we're the ones spending all this money. And there's still a lot of that left.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because how you described it, the older generation, some might say boomers, they were busting their ass to get houses and acquire money. It's very true. But at the same time, when they pass it down to their children, and their children don't spend it, and they keep doing the same thing, it just broadens the poverty gap. Like it makes some people who are, unlucky in life a lot poorer, and some people who got a lot handed to them from their family a lot richer. So, the people who are, actually you should think of it this way, I think. Like the parents worked for their children to have a good future, and the children should have their good future. And the money they spent that their parents earned is going back into the economy.
Right.
That's kind of how I see it. If those children would keep doing the same thing, it would just make everyone a lot poorer except for a couple.
All right.
Yeah.
Getting into the final segment of this podcast, time for a brewski. So for the people who are unaware of what we are drinking right now, this is actually a very popular Belgian beer called Duvel.
Oh, yeah.
It's by far one of the most popular beers in Belgium. Yep. And it's not even close.
And for good reason.
I gotta be honest, I didn't get into it. We're not sponsored, by the way. We're just trying to give you guys some Belgian culture.
Not yet.
I never was that into it up until, I want to say, a year ago. It's so weird. Like, I always used to prefer more fruity, sweet type of beers. Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't know. At one point, because my friends, they're obsessed, by the way. Cheers, buddy.
Oh, cheers.
So good to have you here.
Yeah, good cheers. To be here, man. Thanks.
So, my friends have been drinking this for the past 15 years. Mm-hmm. And I tried it like about a year ago, and I was like, man, that's good. And it just, I don't know what's changed. I guess your taste kind of changes over time. As you get older, like you learn to appreciate other flavors. I don't know. But now I'm just like, that's my go-to. That's been my go-to, and that's all if I drink, it's Duvel. Yeah. Also because I think before, drinking for me used to be a means to an end. I used to drink to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Like it was about getting drunk. So
it's a young man's game.
It is, man. And what I would do is I would go to parties and I would always, I always had to have a beer in my hand.
Yeah.
I would feel awkward without it.
That warm, sloppy beer.
You have to hold something.
Yeah,
and
very bad.
So you're not going to drink Duvel because one of these babies is like the equivalent of 4 normal beers in terms of alcohol percentage.
Sure.
So I wouldn't drink that either because it's kind of like, well, no, I don't want to pass out at 12. Mm-hmm. And then obviously I realized that drinking just to get drunk was super silly. Yeah. And now I drink because I enjoy it. I drink in moderation. So I need something with a little bit more timber, a little bit more character. And I feel like Duvel really
most definitely totally
fills that void.
Like the thing is, like when in all of your life you never drank wine and you drink 1 bottle of wine, the only thing you know is that 1 bottle of wine.
Right.
And after that bottle you can drink the best bottle of wine in the world and you wouldn't know what you're drinking.
Right.
Like, and it's the same way with beer actually. Like, like we would go out as teenagers and drink those like dirty warm beers in plastic cups at parties, and it's just the worst actually. But that was like our frame of reference with regards to flavors of beer.
Yes.
And like now we're older and you've tried beer in Bogota.
Yeah.
And you've tried beers in Barcelona, and like it must have like increased your spectrum and also your appreciation for the Belgian beers. For sure.
It's the best. It's not even close.
Yeah, that's our.
It's not even
that's
close.
our best export. Our chocolate is good.
By far.
Our beer is the best.
Yeah, but like chocolate, it's also harder for me to really differentiate in flavors of the chocolate. Like I've had a really good chocolate from other countries. Swiss chocolate is amazing too, for example. But the Belgian beer is a different level. Like I'm not particularly a patriotic person. I always think I don't know. I think it's kind of silly when you have this exaggerated pride for your country. Also, because most of the people that I know that are super patriotic are kind of like, they're for whatever reason, they often also have certain characteristics that I don't usually vibe with that well. Mm-hmm. It's just, again, a generalization, but it's kind of true. But I can honestly say that the Belgian beer, I'm very proud of. I'm very proud about that.
Me too.
That we, as a small country, as a tiny country, are able to produce something. Such a variety too of different flavors and everything. But what you were saying now, that's very interesting about your frame of reference. You drink one bottle. I always feel like, and I'm not sure if it's connected to it, but I always say everything in life is so subjective, and everything is so. For example, you go to a club, right? And you walk into that club, let's say you're single, and within 30 minutes from walking into that club, you're just like, you're dancing with a girl, before you know it, you're kissing her, and you leave together after 2 hours. Any person asks you in the next year about that club, what are you going to say? You're going to be like, that's the best place. In like the best club, right?
Okay, yeah.
Or you go to that club and within 15 minutes you get into a fight and someone beats you up. Like,
yeah, I'd have to go to that club again to make it a good one again because...
Right, but you probably wouldn't because you would be like, fuck that club, right?
Yeah, but you assume that like you got into that fight because that's the atmosphere at that club. Like there's a relation there, like, It happened
to me when I got robbed in Medellin, when they put a gun to my head. I immediately developed this disdain for the city. I was just like, fuck Medellin, it's a shithole.
That's what happens in Medellin. I mean, I'm not saying that, it happens to everyone, but...
It doesn't, that's the thing.
When you're the victim, it makes you feel like that place... has an increased probability of you running into a situation like that,
right?
Which is totally logical, but the measurement group, let's say, is just you.
Right. Exactly. Like, but that's the thing. I spent the next 2 months of my Colombia trip arguing with other backpackers. I never met another person that had a bad experience in Medellin. They were all like, that was the highlight of my trip. That was the highlight. It was the best city. I'm like, they put a gun to my head. I fucking hate it. It's dangerous. And yeah. My point is not to get back into the whole Colombia or whatever, South America thing. But it's so... I've caught myself developing certain habits and opinions based on... soul experiences, isolated incidents.
Yeah. Everyone has a tendency to do this, but I want to like put some weight on the choice of words you just used, and you said I caught myself. Just realizing that it's a logic flaw to make assumptions on your personal experiences is already a great thing. Like that's something people should be aware of, that, like what's going on in your life is never a universal truth. I mean.
No, that's very true. That's very true. But it is something that I just wonder, then sometimes my mind goes to this place where I start, looking at all the things that have happened to me. Mm-hmm. And also, for example, my cancer. And that's always... I would love to meet me. I would love to meet the Lorenz that never had cancer. I really, really want to know. I would love to know how I would have turned out. And there's a big part of me that truly believes that the difference would be there wouldn't be that much difference. And on other days, I feel like you would be an entirely different person. Something that I've always talked about is I never changed that much. The thing that changed that much was the narrative about me. Before my cancer, people would attribute my self-confidence to big ego, arrogance. And then after that, when you have a clear defect in your face, it turned into fighter, survivor, inspiration. You never give up. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like if I didn't have, also something about my YouTube channel, a part of me feels like I would not be able to have the same success I have right now if I didn't look the way I do today, you know?
Yeah, I get where you're going with that, and I just want to say that you're the same person. I can confirm this.
You're one of the few people. You're one of the few people.
I've known you like this, and I've known you as a wonderful person. I've known you as a jackass, the same way you've known me, you know, like we've known each other in all the different spectrums.
Right.
But the thing is, I don't think that it's the label people put on you because you had cancer, but like having cancer, having gone through all of those treatments and all of those scary nights and whatever, and surviving that, I think you took the role upon yourself to be an inspirer, like to you know, and I think that, like, you know, just going out there and trying to help people, inspire people, coaching people, like, I don't think that would have happened if you know, wouldn't have gone through what you have gone through.
But I'm doing all of that more for myself than for anyone else because I need it to make sense. I need the cancers to make sense. I need them, what I always say, to be the best thing that happened to me. Like, that's why I'm forcing that issue. That's why I'm like, I have to, my cancer and the way I look today has to become an instrumental part of my future success in order for me to be able to fully make peace with what I went through. Because if it doesn't, hypothetically, if I were to go back to being a sales manager, get back into marketing, cold calling people, you know, making PowerPoint presentations, stuff like that, what would have, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been...
There has to be a point.
And for myself, like, that's my way of accepting it, and that's my way of moving forward with it. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, I tell myself all the time, and maybe I'm being too critical, but I do feel like I get away with more stuff because of the way I look, and I know that, and I consciously act like a douchey person sometimes because I know that doing that within the way that I look, it's better. Like, it's called confident.
Yeah.
It's called inspiration.
Yeah.
I look at myself sometimes and I'm like, dude, that's way over the top. But still, people praise you for it because they have this, like, you go girl mentality.
But the praise changed, but I've known you to be very exuberant before you had cancer, like, you know, like talking smack in a cafe, and, you know. But
then people didn't like me; they just thought I was an asshole.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's true that the narrative changed.
The narrative
changed, but also, like, as I said before, you wouldn't have been doing this if you didn't get cancer.
No, I wouldn't
have been sitting here having this conversation, for sure.
No.
And, you know, whatever the motive is, I am convinced you are helping a lot of people with your podcasts, with your vlogs, with your coaching. And I don't know. I think, you know, it's a positive thing, and that's enough to make it make sense, maybe.
It is. And I've done more now for people already at the age of 32 than I would have done in an entire lifetime of me being healthy and normal.
Sure.
I can, because I get, not to toot my own horn, but I literally get messages, emails every day, people telling me that they were contemplating suicide, and my videos, gave them strength to go on. And it's kind of like, I still find myself wanting that validation from society on a more financial level, on a more like, it's crazy. The further I become removed from my cancer, so that means the more years that I have living in health and stability, the more that I find myself adopting once more society's idea of what success entails, and focusing more on the financial part again. And I've already spoken about this. Like right now, I'm in a phase where I'm definitely focusing on building my career and the financial aspect of it, because I spent the last 8 years not saving any money and just living it up, because I had a mentality that told me you're gonna die soon.
Yeah.
But the more stability you have, the more that you turn into a sponge again of the people around you. You fall back into that whole like,
It's true, but what we said before with like the generation before us, like accumulating wealth and houses, the paper chase, coats, paper chase only gets you so far, like. When you have a decent income, a stable income that provides you with all the comfort you need, like a lot of people make this really, they make this choice to keep going, keep earning more, keep accumulating more, while they're investing, they're actually exchanging their time for money that they kind of don't need, because they have their stable comfort life. So basically they're just pissing time away from their life, and also losing focus on other important things like physical health. And these things are these things are most important. Like money is only important up to a specific point, and then you need to put your focus on what you do with your time, like having some quality time. Also just like avoiding wasting time, like binge watching or playing video games. I love video games and I love binge watching, but sometimes you need to do something with your time that's important to you, like walking in nature, enjoying art, culture, spending it with friends and family. That's a very important one. And that is what being rich is all about, having the possibility to do that. And it's not all about money.
No,
definitely not.
No. And also that's something that I also told my girlfriend a few times. I'm aware that right now I'm not able to fully grasp the value yet of the videos that I'm making. What I mean by that is, sure, I don't make any money from the views from YouTube, basically. But since the fact that I've been vlogging my life for the last 3+ years, that's such a treasure. When you're 80 years old and you can be like, talk to your grandkids or
you did that,
like, and you're like, yo, look, I can tell you the story, I'm gonna tell you the story, and now I'm gonna fucking show you. Yep, this is me. Like,
that's true.
All these grandpas talking, I used to have shoulders like a Hercules. Like, no, look, this is me in the fucking DR, like running around the beach, doing crazy stuff, like talking to locals, taking chances. Like,
it's one hell of an adventure you've undertaken.
It's amazing
until this point, and I really appreciate it. I mean, I can't say that I've watched every single video, but I've definitely watched more than 80% of your videos.
Thank you, man.
And
You're actually, listen, this is funny. Sorry to cut you off. You are one of the few real life friends, because that's a real thing. Most of my real life friends do not watch my content, which is fine. I just think it's interesting. And it's something I want to share with the people at home, because they might put me on a pedestal sometimes, and it's like, nah, most of the people around me, they don't give a fuck. So let that inspire you at home. If you feel like you want to do something special and you're not getting validation from those around you, the people that are closest to you are always going to be the ones who give you the least respect, and are going to be the last ones to recognize what you're doing. That's like, if you ask me one thing that I've learned, it's that. Like, my direct environment to this day still really doesn't take it that serious, what I'm doing. Yeah. And yeah, it is what it is.
I don't know, man. It's just those people are, the closest people are sometimes a bit too close to see the value of it. You know, like if you're like standing 2 inches from the Empire State Building, you're not gonna see it's the Empire State Building. You know. That's
a good one.
And I don't know, watching your vlogs has also kind of, helped me in a way, because I was focusing on work and like renovating my house and things, but like, I've followed your story in real life.
Yeah.
The whole cancer journey.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I've seen you at your worst. I'm sure. And I'm seeing you at your best right now, and in your videos too. And like, this is such a strong thing to me, and it just it inspires me to want to be more healthy myself.
Right.
And like I don't know, like this is some background information, but like I've lost like, I don't know, 20 kilos the last 2 years, and this coincides with your videos too. It's not.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
I'm not saying I did the work. I did the work, but you gave me some tools to.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
I gotta say, if you want a good trainer or a personal coach, you should definitely hit up this guy.
Thank you, man. That's really kind of you to say, and it's still surreal, like, and to hear that, and I believe you. I do. It's insane, man, to look at everything that has transpired up until this point. But yeah, I'm convinced that I do feel like I'm on the right path, and that's why I'm documenting this whole thing.
Most definitely. And I'm really looking forward to your book. I mean, we talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I'm really glad you're doing it.
Yeah,
I want a signature copy.
Dude, you're gonna get all the signatures you want, man.
All right.
That is man, and my mind is crazy. My mind is weird like this, so don't take this the wrong way. But I already know, like, us just sitting here, this is happening right now. Like, this is real. I can touch this table. And I already know one day, and I know this is gonna sound like weird, but whoever goes to pass first of you and me, right?
Yeah.
I know that other person
is gonna watch this. That is some heavy shit, because that's true.
It is true.
Yep.
And the realization of that in this very moment is just something that's far more important than any view, any algorithm, any viral video. Like, that's true value that you cannot measure in monetary units, I think.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, apart from, inspiring people and, collecting views and whatever, you're also documenting your life.
That's it.
That is very important. And like, for me personally, and my family, my partner, like, sometimes we, I look at my wife and we say like, we don't take enough pictures. Like, we were on holiday and like, we didn't take any pictures until the 3rd day or something. We're like, damn, Yeah, but you have you have a time capsule.
Yeah.
And
I will say this, man.
There's value.
There is real value in that, but at the same time, I do want to tell you there is also something to be said about not taking pictures or
living in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not always like that, but sometimes we're just having so much fun that we forget to take pictures.
Of course.
And that's like the point of traveling and having fun and living life.
And I think it's better to be at that end of the spectrum than to be at the point where you're just constantly. And I will say that's one of the biggest disadvantages. I'm so happy that I'm doing this right now, the podcast format, because one of the things that just I hated about vlogging and documenting my travels and documenting my, just my daily life. Every fucking single time something cool happens or this thing happens that's kind of interesting and you don't document it, you're just beating yourself up for the rest of the day.
It kind of consumes you, you're always thinking, I wish I filmed this, I wish I documented this, and while it was good you did that because you have that is something very unique.
Yeah.
It took a large chunk of your experiences and
it did. Keep going, man.
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna get you more into the shot.
all right. Oh.
And I came full circle because I didn't do anything in terms of YouTube for a good 2 months because I got sick of it. And I was making videos because I felt like I had to make videos. I was just like.
It became a job.
It became a job, and there's nothing wrong with having doing things because you have to do them. But I just feel like the content suffered because of it, and I'm not gonna make big statements because you never know what the future holds. But I'm gonna say what I think right now, and I withhold the right to change my mind, right? But this you don't know how happy it makes me to be able to sit down with you, a guy like you, a longtime friend, and just talk about life, talk about aliens, talk about beer, whatever. And this is me, man. This is what I like, and I don't think I'm ever gonna go back to carrying that stupid fucking tripod and filming myself, yelling at the camera, and doing these awkward interactions with people. Because people are always super weird when you film them, and it's weird because everyone's looking at you because you're filming yourself, and it's just you got to look at the shot. Are we in the shot? I mean, I happy I did it, but I feel like the only way I'll ever shoot stuff again when I'm on the move is when I will have the designated camera crew. And I know that sounds like I got. Like a very big head statement, but I need someone to film me and to do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really know.
Those days of holding the tripod, that's behind me, man. I'm done with that shit.
You mixed up the format, and actually I enjoy it. I mean, I'm listening to your podcasts when I'm doing trivial shit, cleaning the house or whatever.
That's cool, man.
But it works.
I think so, and I think that's also where my talents lie. More so into doing something on, because I'm not a travel vlogger. I'm not. And
you did that kind of.
I did, but still, again,
you gotta get into your own, and and this is where you're at now, podcasts, and it's I like it.
Me too, man.
I'm a fan of this.
Me too, man. Me too.
And also it's very genuine because it's not like we're always talking in English when we're together.
No.
But we hang out on the regular, basically, and we cook a little, we drink some beers, and we always end up sitting around the table having exactly these conversations.
Right.
But without a camera, without microphones.
Yeah.
And I like this because there's sometimes there's like little nuggets of gold.
For sure, for sure. And I was watching this. There's this guy called Lex. I think Lex Friedman. He's basically one of Joe Rogan's disciples, and he was talking about yesterday. He was saying, "I'm trying to get these really big names on," and he usually gets guys on who are huge in like the scientific field, just like people like Elon Musk, like big time people.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he's like, yeah, I'm gonna need you for 3 hours, and they're like, I'll give you 30 minutes, and he's just like, no, like that's not what I'm trying to do here. And he was talking about the fact that these super intelligent geniuses underestimate the value of conversation in terms of there is a process that takes place when you're talking and when you're just flowing freely that you cannot really replicate if you're just trying to work on something by yourself. So what you just said, these little nuggets of gold. Because in essence, what we are doing right now, we are just constantly kind of brainstorming.
Yeah, definitely. None of this is scripted.
No, of course not. Obviously, and that's, I consider myself to be, at my core, a philosopher, and that's why I love doing it.
I think that's that's interesting because. Like the best people I have these really deep conversations with, like in the depth of night, I think these are all people who consider themselves, deep down to be like modern day philosophers. Right. And I don't know. I kind of feel the same way. I don't like think of myself as too smart of a person or
but hold on, man, you're fucking smart, like you are. I'm not saying that because you're here or because you're my friend, but your ability to, I mean, you're just, your ability to apply IT knowledge in everything. I'm gonna give you an anecdote. Okay. I was with a good friend of mine, Domper. We were sitting at the bar, and it was him and Books. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. You don't know these people. Doesn't matter. I'm sitting with two friends at the bar, and we're discussing him. And at one point, one of my friends brought up but what exactly does he do? Like, what is his expertise? And long story short, we ended up pulling up your LinkedIn profile. Yeah. And my buddy was reading it, and he was like, he knows all of the coding languages. Like, apparently you have like a bunch of different, like, how does that work?
Well,
like,
I have like I started in Java in school. Like that was like the main programming language we did. And well, basically there are some main branches of programming languages. You have Java, you have C, C++, .NET, like these, and I kind of have interest in all of them up to a certain point. But it's just, I have more of an interest in what they have in common, like the logical structures in those languages. Like if you grasp the way of algorithmical thinking, like a language is just a different syntax, just a different way to say the same thing. And when you want to write a program, okay, you need to choose the language that suits best your needs. But if you know what programming code can do, you can get some handbooks, use Google, whatever, and figure out anything in any language. That's the thing. Like programming is a way of thinking, really, and also like debugging. Like getting problems out of programming code is just some kind of diagnostic way of thinking, like which steps to take to solve the problem. And I don't know. I'm very fascinated by those things, and yeah.
You're too modest, man. Listen, I think we covered a bunch of pretty cool topics. I'm gonna need you to come back, man. I'm gonna need you to come back.
I think we still have a whole repertoire of topics we can,
of course, but
discuss.
I think you should come back. So guys, listen, comment below if you think that my buddy Niels should come back sometime and discuss some more stuff. I know a lot of you pervy, dirty motherfuckers are missing Katya. I'm sorry. It's not going to be the Hot Latina show every episode. I'm not just going to talk to her. All right? She's also got a job. She's got a life to live. So I'm not always going to lock her down and talk to me for 1 hour straight. And I'm sure she's happy about that. So let me know. Let me know what you guys thought about this podcast.
People can maybe, like, your viewers or listeners can suggest some topics too.
Exactly.
We can pick and mix topics. I don't mind.
Exactly. I'm very curious to hear about the feedback about this one. But I'm telling you right now, regardless of the feedback, we're gonna do this again simply because I love it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Like it's
nice.
It's
I was
cool,
a bit nervous at first.
I saw you in that in the beginning. Like it's funny because I know you, and in the beginning I saw you.
But like people. Okay, we're not going to expand too much on it. But like a lot of people define themselves as introvert or extrovert or whatever. I don't know. I always feel like I'm like smack in the middle of that. Like I'm a little bit of an introvert. I can be an extrovert, so it's...
But it's I wouldn't... This is interesting. So I think for context, your father, your family runs a very successful furniture store. So your father is basically a salesman, a natural salesman at heart. That's what he does.
Yeah, he's the best.
He is. Shout out to Luke. Shout out, man. Amazing guy. And you are an introvert, but you're not, because once you get going, if you are in your element, you could be at a party and not say a word the whole night, but you could also be at a party and just be in the center of attention the whole night. Like that's you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like I can be at the party and people are like, who's that quiet guy?
Yeah.
And then another time I'm just having the time of my life.
Exactly.
Living it up. And like people.
Because you do have that commercial aspect to you. You know how to talk and you know how to like get something across.
Well, thank you.
All right, man. Enough with the compliments. Guys, thank you so much for watching episode 5 of the Wounded Viking Podcast. We'll be back, man. I'll be back with more content real soon. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and leave a comment, all that stuff. Yada yada. Typical outro YouTube stuff.
Wounded Viking, checking out,
guys. Thank you for watching, and that's it. Niels, thank you so much for coming, man.
Yeah, fist bump me, man. Goddamn.
Boom, and we're out. Let's go. That's a wrap. Nice, man. Do you need help making better decisions in your life? Are you lacking self-confidence and motivation to get things done? Hire me today and get a direct daily line of communication with me through video chat and audio messages. I operate on a week-to-week basis, so no long-term investment is required. 7 straight days of Viking advice will get you right on track. Email me at lorenz.dries@gmail.com and change your reality. I'm ready whenever you are. See you soon.